everybody. My name is Rachel Ann Cross, and I'm one of the 8 artists in residence for the city of Greenbelt, Maryland. And we're doing virtual studio tours while we are all in the situation that we are in. And I'm so happy to be able to share my studio with you. So during normal times, you'd be able to come up here and visit me in Studio 301. Wonderful studio space in the Greenbelt Community Center. I share my studio with the fabulous painter Kathy Carlson. It's really worth checking out her work and also the work of all the other artists in residence. So I'm gonna show you around a little bit. Okay, thanks for joining me. Bye-bye. So these are a series of hands that I call helping hands, healing hands. I've been thinking a lot about the helpers and healers in our world right now, and really important people out. And as you can see, they are bigger than my hand, and I like to repurpose materials. So I start with scraps of plywood, and the next thing I do is I sand and prime these. I paint gold leaf and acrylic paint, and then I use lots of broken jewelry and epoxy compound to do these mosaics. Hands are ready to hang on the back. This one is called Hand of Peace, and they're really brighten up any space that they're in. This is Hand of Peace. We've got Hand of Hope, Hand of Wisdom over here, and Hand of Joy over here. And they were just really meditations on helping and healing. For a couple of years now, I've been working with images and of the human heart, and some of those images, of course, are more anatomically correct and other ones are the kind of symbolic heart, but really thinking about love and what that means and on this planet Earth. And I love this quote from Mother Teresa: "Love is a fruit in season at all times and within reach of every hand." And as you can see with these radiant hearts and Valentine hearts, they use a similar kind of technique with the beads and the epoxy and the gold leaf, broken jewelry, and on the back they're ready to hang up on the wall. And I just love working on wood. There's something really warm and wonderful about working with these materials, and also to reclaim materials like all the broken necklaces. This is part of my Sacred Treks series. I love to hike, and I do really big pilgrimage hikes. I've done a 500-mile one through Spain on the Camino de Santiago, and also a 400-mile one in Shikoku, Japan. And I'll go back and finish that one as soon as we can do that. I'm there. So what becomes sacred to me on these treks really is, first of all, being able to do them is amazing, but also the people that I encounter, the animals, being out in nature, all of these things. And I've noticed in my travels and in my studies that a lot of sacred objects incorporate gold and other precious metals or precious colors, like paints that are hard to get, things like that. They make it extra special and they bump it up a notch. So I love going to the woods. The woods are that's my sacred space. I love what John Muir said about the woods. He said, going to the woods is going home, and that's certainly how I feel when I'm there. So I do a lot of training hikes around here. This little guy, I think I met him or her on the C&O Canal, and also this amazing amphibian little crab from mountain crab from Japan. Way up in the mountain, there are these little forest crabs. Some koi and a snail from the Camino de Santiago in Spain. A great reminder to slow things down. These little paintings are also done on wood. When you're walking 20 plus miles a day, it's great to have a great pair of boots, and that is also a really important and holy item to possess. So I wanted to give the boots their proper respect. Little goat from Japan. So there are a few more of these that are not pictured, but everything you see is up on my Etsy site, plus more, and I'll be showing you a link for that very soon. Thanks. I think my lifelong research project is studying goddesses and female archetypes and female power symbols. So I like to look at many different cultures, groups of people around the world throughout history, and see what their folklore, what their belief systems are, and what the women were up to. It's an interesting thing for me, and a fascinating thing. These are some of my goddesses and mermaids. And again, I'm starting out with, plywood scraps. And you'll notice that most of them also have these little keys on them. And actually what those are, they are parts of a glockenspiel or kids' xylophones. And they're just gorgeous pieces. One of many people, our first experience with, a joyful experience with color and also sound and music is when you're a baby and somebody gives you one of those little xylophones to play with. It's just magic. So I love to use these pieces and have some of that magic of color and sound on every goddess or mermaid that I make. This is the Merrow, and she is a Celtic mermaid princess goddess, and she's got a whole lot of things going on. She's a fierce one, and also a guardian, and just an amazing figure in the world. She can be destructive too. She could guide the sailors, or she can lure the sailors to their demise. Over here, this is a goddess of wellness, and you can see the chakras and balance, and keys unlocking good health. And there's also elephants. Elephants are strong. They're family oriented. They remember a lot of information, important stuff, and they perform rituals. There are elephant rituals, like taking care of their dead and looking out for young ones and all of those kind of things. Over here is Ganga, who is the guardian of the Ganges River in India, one of the most sacred rivers there, and she has a lot of river life around her, and animals you might find in that part of the world. She's got dragonflies and big frog and peacock and all kinds of lotuses, and also the Ganges River is where people are taken for death rituals when they pass away, and so that's in there too. It's all in there. And this is our goddess of growth and transformation. And there are a whole lot of little things going on here, growing, and seeds and stirring things up, bubbling beneath the surface, bursting through. So a lot of thinking goes on in this studio. And the goddesses and all the artwork that I do, I think with most artists, it really helps you make sense of the world. And that's what I'm trying to do here. So it's a lot of hard work, let me tell you. Okay, and here we have some of my birds of hope, and really enjoyed working on birds for years. This is a gourd. This is how they start out. Most of my work starts out somehow as plants or repurposed material. So these are some dried gourds from Tennessee. and then they are sanded and primed, and I paint them with several layers of enamel paints, and they've got coated wire and beads and all kinds of joyful stuff going on. So this particular series, I even have storing it up on the back too. This particular series are called Birds of Hope, and there are large ones and small ones, and I think we could use all the hope we can get. And I have a little quote here from Emily Dickinson, and she wrote, "Hope is a thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings a tune without the words and never stops at all." And you know, first thing in the morning, what do we hear? Birds singing, right? Hope. It's a new day. The sun rises. So I've got work about hope, work about divine feminine, empowerment, inclusiveness, work about, I'll move that over there, got work about nature and the sacredness and amazingness of nature, which we are part of. We've got work over here about the human heart and the capacity to love, courage, and my series over here, the helping hands, healing hands, really about helping, healing, staying strong, resisting, working hard, all of the things we're doing every day here on planet Earth these days, and especially in the United States. Thank you so much for touring my studio with me. I really appreciate your time, and also, again, the city of Greenbelt and all patrons of the arts. You are angels to us, all of the arts. Thanks. Bye-bye. Checky 1, checky 2, checky 3, checky 4.